Hey everyone, Destroyer here. So, for those of you who have been following along on the website at destroyer.net, you'll notice that I was last working on a tactical shotgun build. Thanks to a lot of input from some of my followers on Twitter, that's what I decided to go with. And, for those of you who are following along, you'll know that it's been completed for quite some time. Well, I meant to do a actual step-by-step video on how I built it for those who aren't following on the website, and now that the temporary move's done, I actually have some time to do that. So let's get to it. So I started off with the Remington 870 tactical model as a base, and I really chose this one because a lot of law enforcement and military use this, and there have not been, to my knowledge, a lot of issues with it. Plus, I already have a Mossberg Maverick Model 88 that I use for skeet shooting, and I love it to death, but I wanted to go away from Mossberg mainly because of that reason. I've never owned a Remington shotgun, and so I wanted to go that route. So I first noticed that I wanted to get rid of that plain-looking buttstock on it. It's nice, it's functional, but I wanted it to be kind of unique on my weapon. And with the regular buttstock, it just looks like every other 870 tactical model out there. So I started looking around. Blackhawk makes some really nice stuff. So do a couple other manufacturers. For a while, I was really tempted to go with one of the Blackhawk stocks that had the AR style adjustable butt pad. I really liked that model, but at the same time, I didn't want it to just look like a wannabe AR either. No offense to the AR people, because I own an AR-10, but I wanted it to be kind of unique. And I remember playing Call of Duty Black Ops, and for those of you who've played the game, you'll understand what I'm talking about. For everyone else, you'll just think I'm talking Greek, so just bear with me. But there's a gun on there you use in one of the levels called the SPAS-12, and I just loved that design. The way the SPAS-12 is it's a 12-gauge pump made by the Russians, and it has a fold-over stock. So it actually folds over the top of it so you can still see the iron sights, and then it folds down and there's a tail end that flips out and locks so that you can use it as an actual stock, full length. And ironically, they were also using the Dragon's Breath, and I did a review on the Dragon's Breath round already out of my Maverick, not out of the 870. Anyways, so I wanted something kind of like that, the SPAS-12 design. So I looked around and I found that ATI actually made something like that for not just the 870 but also the Mossberg 500, I believe, and a couple other different models of shotguns. And so let me cover that part first. So this is what it looks like. I added the shell holder, obviously, but it adds a pistol grip to the Remington 870 Tactical, and it still gives you your, for the most part, standard buttstock on here as far as the length goes. The cool thing is, let me reverse it, when you push this button here, it unlocks it and you can actually hinge it. Undo that, and it locks in, and there's your shell holder right there. Yeah, I like it. So the nice thing is you can actually make it pretty compact. Obviously it's not going to be as compact as some of the bullpup kits that they have out there for the shotguns, but that is probably something I'm going to have to do at some point in the future. Those things just look awesome. But in the meantime, this is kind of what I wanted to do. It'll lengthen when I want it to by just releasing it. Otherwise, if I don't need to worry about it and I just want to fire from the hip, or I need to clear a corner or something and I don't want a long gun, I can fold this up and I can still fire it. The other thing that I did was I got rid of the stock handguard on the Remington 870. If you'll notice, it's sporting one that actually has two Picatinny rails, two short ones, and then one that runs all the way along the length of the underside. It's actually a fore-end made by the Mako group, and my hats off and thanks to Simple Survival. They were able to hook me up for a discount on that because it's normally 70 bucks for this. It's made really, really well in my opinion. But I didn't really want to pay 70 bucks for that, and they were able to get me a pretty sizable discount on that. So thank you to the guys at Simple Survival. I appreciate it. You guys are awesome. I plan to at some point add a TLR1 streamlight to it. Probably run it right along here so that when I'm actually holding it, I can engage the button with my thumb or my index finger. Not quite sure. I may mount it on the side depending on how it actually fits. It's just going to be one of those things that it's going to be more by feel than by measuring things out. And then finally, I decided not to get a laser, mainly because I plan to use this more as a self-defense gun in the house. I could use it for combat, but honestly, I don't see a practical purpose for me, personally, needing a laser on a shotgun. The bead's front sight on it is adequate enough. I've got plenty of experience with that, so it was not a big deal to me. The biggest problem I encountered for the longest time was what to do about a single point sling. If you know me, I love single point slings, not because they're superior to the 2 or the 3 point sling, except for it's just my personal preference. I prefer them because when you're actually out using them, you're quicker to the action with the single point sling than you are the 2 or the 3 point sling. In the 2 and 3 point slings defense, those ones give you a lot more stability in the 2 point sling and give you better transition speed in the 3 point sling. But for me, I just like to keep it simple so I don't tangle myself up and look like an idiot out there. And so I just stick with the single point slings. And my problem was, as awesome as this stock is with ATI, you'll notice that there is no pre-designed hook for a single point sling or a sling of any sort. Now, they were nice enough to include a swivel stud that you can either put on the left or the right hand side. So you lefties are going to appreciate that. And all it does is it attaches with an Allen wrench, and then the swivel stud just locks in there nice and solid. And so what I did is I just took some of the Winchester quick release studs and swivels, and you can see all I did was just put that in there, and I just mated it to a single point sling. It's a heavy duty enough metal that I'm not really too worried about it. I'm not going to put it through a ton of heavy use, so I don't really see an issue with it holding up. I'll definitely be reporting back on this if I see any issues as I continue to use it down the road. So that pretty much covers it. I've always wanted to do something like this to a shotgun, and for the longest time I wasn't able to. I was content with my Maverick Model 88, but this was something I had on my mind to do for a while. So, got a nice short, bring it in, or this release button. And then you got your standard length to pull here. So, that is the Remington 870 tactical build. That's the Den model. And I think I'm going to like it. Thanks for watching, guys.